Have you ever just stopped and asked yourself, why do I do the things I do? It's like one of the most fundamental human questions, right? And that's exactly what we're going to get into today. We're going to pull back the curtain on the science of psychology, figure out what its real mission is, and, what actually makes it a science.
I mean, we've all been there, haven't we? Wondering why we feel a certain way, or why we make that one specific choice, or get stuck in the same old habits over and over again. Well, that curiosity, that's the starting point. Psychology is basically the tool we use to hunt for the answers, to really understand the why behind everything we do.
Okay, so before we dive any deeper, let's get on the same page. We need a solid definition. What are we actually talking about when we say psychology?
All right, here's the official definition. But listen, if you only remember one word from this, make it scientific. This is so important. We're not talking about guesswork or, some random theories someone cooked up in an armchair. Psychology is a serious, rigorous science. It uses hard evidence and real methods to figure out what makes us all tick.
And it looks at two different but totally connected worlds. First, you've got behavior. That's the stuff on the outside, right? The actions we can actually see. Someone talking, walking, writing, you name it. But then, there are the mental processes. This is all the internal stuff, that invisible world of our thoughts, our feelings, our memories. And the really cool part is understanding how what's happening on the inside is constantly shaping what we do on the outside.
So if psychology is a science, what's its actual game plan? What's the mission? Well, it follows a pretty clear four-step process for investigating things. Honestly, the best way to think about it is like a detective's handbook for solving the mysteries of why we do what we do.
And here they are: describe, explain, predict, and control. These four goals are the absolute bedrock of psychology. Now, to make this super easy to follow, we're going to use a classic example that I think we can all relate to: procrastination.
Okay, goal number one, describe. This is the what is happening stage. It's all about being an objective observer, just the facts. So a psychologist would just watch and write down what they see. For example, the student is not writing their history paper. Instead, they are organizing their desk and scrolling on their phone. See? No judgment, no guessing why, just the what.
All right, next up we have to explain. Now we get to ask the big question: why? Why is that student procrastinating? Could it be a fear of not doing a good job? Maybe they're just bored by the topic, or maybe the project feels so huge they have no idea where to even begin. This is the part where we start building theories about what's really going on under the surface. So once we have a theory about the why, we can move on to prediction. This is all about asking, when will this happen again? If our theory is that the student avoids big, overwhelming tasks, well, we can predict they're probably going to procrastinate again the next time they get a huge, unstructured assignment. It's about seeing the pattern before it happens. And that leads us to the fourth and, you could argue, most powerful goal: control. Or maybe a better word is influence. This is where the rubber meets the road. It's about taking everything we've just figured out and using it to make a positive change. So for our student, we could help them break that big project into tiny, manageable pieces. We're not just observing anymore. We're actively helping to change the behavior for the better. And that whole four-step process, that is exactly what separates real psychology from just, common sense. It's this systematic approach that makes it a science, and not just a bunch of popular ideas people have about how other people work.
See, what makes psychology a science isn't really what it studies, it's how it studies it. It doesn't just throw out guesses. It creates hypotheses that can actually be tested. It gathers data systematically on everything from our brain chemistry to our social circles, all in the hunt for answers that are accurate and objective.
And this is exactly why being so scientific about it is absolutely crucial. Because, as this quote points out, what we think of as common sense can be really, really unreliable. You know the old saying, opposites attract? It sounds good, it feels kind of true, but study after study shows it's mostly wrong. We're actually drawn to people who are similar to us. Without the scientific method, we could build our whole understanding of people on ideas that are just, well, wrong.
Okay, so we've got this awesome scientific system for learning about ourselves, but so what? What's the point of it all? How does all this knowledge actually get used out there in the real world? Well, it works in this really cool cycle. Think of it like this. On one side, you've got basic psychology. This is the pure research, the part that's just trying to understand why things happen. It's building the foundation of knowledge. Then, that knowledge fuels the other side, applied psychology. This is the part that asks, okay, how can we use this? This is where we get things like therapy techniques, better teaching methods, or ways to make workplaces better. They're two sides of the same coin. You really can't have one without the other.
So at the end of the day, psychology is way more than just a subject you study in school. It's a powerful toolkit for understanding and even changing the world around us and inside of us. Which leaves us with a pretty massive question to chew on, right? If this science really gives us the framework to change behavior, where do we even begin? What's the one thing in ourselves, or maybe in society as a whole, that we should focus on changing first?